You know, it's already been over a year since we started looking at our next boat, and we've only just sold our most recent boat this past summer. But it's always fun to look at boats. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to start let's call it a little bit of a series. I'm going to be looking at the boats that we may want to buy. But of course, you know what that means. We change our minds all the time. But that said, this one is definitely on the top of the list for whenever that time may come that we actually buy another boat. Of course, it's going to be a Sea Ray. You all know that already. So I'm going to dive into this right now with you guys a little bit. And this boat in particular has some really, really interesting specs on it. So the boat that we're looking at today is a 2001 model year Sea Ray 410 Sundancer. So this particular vessel I discovered online. It was for sale up until fairly recently in a nice beautiful marina in Idaho. Clearly a beautiful boating area and clearly a beautiful boat, and I'm really happy that I discovered this boat. But this boat was, like I say, listed back in, I'm pretty sure it was back in August. And it had started off with, in my opinion, it was a lot of money. It was on the high end of the scale of used Sea Ray 410 Sundancers that I had my eye on back in that time. They started off at $199 US and then dropped it a few weeks ago down to $150. Let's say maybe a month and a half ago they dropped it down to $150, like $149, something like that. And it has since disappeared from their listing. So I'm going to guess that the boat sold. They found the right number for that boat to sell it. But you may say, well, that sounds like a lot of money. Yes and no. I will get to that also in a second. I'm going to tell you why that boat was not unreasonably priced, in my opinion. Now, I haven't been able to confirm this actually factually because we're not in the market to buy the boat anyway, so I haven't contacted the broker. But look at those engine hours. Port side is reading 51 hours by the gauge and starboard 48 and a half hours. Now for a 2001 year boat, again, that's 24 years old. That is incredibly crazy low engine hours. But just looking at the photos, the boat presents as new. Now I'm not going to say brand new. It would show as maybe a 1 or 2 year old boat. Let's take a look just underneath the Raytheon plotter. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but you see those two little vents there? So what does that say to you? Yes, helm air conditioning. Hoo-hoo-hoo. See that little vent there on the starboard side, right behind the captain's helm? I'm sure that is a vent as well for the AC unit. Alrighty, so now we're going to take a look down inside, and I'm just going to show you the access to the cabin from this boat. Many express style boats, Sea Rays anyways, the companionway door is basically just on a slider. However, this boat, as you can see, it's a hinge door, and I love that locking mechanism. Wow, that looks almost residential, but that looks like a full-on deadbolt lock, which is really, really nice and robust, so I'm glad to see that. So once we're down inside, you can see this is galley off to port, and then the settee couch, whatever you want to call it, off to the starboard side. I've never been on this boat, but I have had a chance to once be on a boat like this, a similar model, and that couch is really nice, really comfortable. So as you can see on these boats, the galley is equipped with a full-size fridge, and I'm using air quotes right there when I say full-size. I think this is actually, they are actually technically referred to as a 3/4 fridge. Beautiful cherry wood finish on the cabinets on this boat, gives it that rich look. The seller was good enough to open all the doors so we could see what's going on. Again, fridge, freezer, combo unit, and we slide over a little bit. There is the factory coffee maker, the Black & Decker. Get at that coffee maker on this boat, you would have to open the doors and then do whatever you're doing and then close the doors. Same thing with the microwave. The microwave, I could live with it being like that, so that's fine. But I'll refer to, again, look down at my how I did it boat repairs and upgrades videos, and you'll see how I put in a Keurig coffee maker in a semi-permanent situation just under the cabinets in our last boat, and it worked fantastically. So we would never use that Black & Decker, so that can go yoink out of there, and I would use that plug for the Keurig. So here we are now looking towards the bow of the boat, and that is the master stateroom at the front of the boat. I'm going to point out something real quick here as well. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. That is the door. If we went straight through, we would go into the master stateroom. But what I love what they did in this boat, when this boat was originally produced and sold, that would have been the 2000 model year. But what they did that first year for this boat, the door going in there was a swing indoor. So as you walked in, it would have been a right hand swing, so the handle would be on the left side, so the door would swing to your right. Somebody got smart, and by the 2001 model year, which this boat was, they said, let's put in a pocket door, which was so much better. And how do I know that's a pocket door? Simply because I've looked at enough of these boats over the years, at least online that is. But you can see there's a little strap there on the bottom, a little thin plastic strap. So when the door is in its open position, as it is here, that slides into that wall, and just to stop the door from potentially bouncing out when the boat's underway, going through waves, they put that little strap. So here we are inside the master stateroom. Nothing unusual, and again, this is very similar to our last boat. I guess you would call that a queen size bed, but it's plain enough for us. Now, unfortunately, there's no other pictures of this space. I would love to show you just what it looked like, you know, from the bed looking out. So one of the great selling features of this boat that kind of caught our eye is that the main head area is a cheater ensuite as well. A full separate stand-up shower, which is really nice, and even an overhead hatch for light and ventilation, which is awesome. Now heading aftward, we can see there is also a mid cabin in this boat, so it allows for extra sleeping accommodations. This aft couch actually pulls out. It's electrically operated, so it'll go down and out towards you and provide a nice berth for short people or even kids, grandkids, or whatever. Now that would make a decent berth. Again, I don't have any photos of it. I'm going to try and find one on a future video, but with that down and out, it would make a nice double berth for people who aren't as tall as me. Now, I don't know what you would call this or how you would refer to it, but it's almost like an upper bunk, which either closes up against that back wall or folds down, and you can see it's on some wire supports. I don't know who would want to lie up there. I wouldn't trust putting a little kid up there, but I'm guessing it's doable. There's a cushioned pad in there, so obviously it was designed as a secondary sleeping accommodation. Now, if we don't want to use it as sleeping accommodations, I'm sure that cushion would be removable. So for our purposes, again, we could leave that in this down position, get rid of that cushion piece, and use it for storage. And here is now a second head in this boat. It's just a two-piece. It's a wet head, so you could technically use it as a shower area. Sometimes it's nice to have a second toilet on the boat, or use it as a day head when the kids and the grandkids come to visit, so nobody has to use the main washroom, which is ours. Any guest could use a second, the day head. So we're going to take a bit of a zoom in look at the main electrical panel, and when I did this is what tuned me into the fact that the boat has that third air conditioning unit, because from the factory the boat would have had 12,000 BTU unit up in the forward V berth under the bed, and then there's a secondary one which is going to be under the couch on this boat, and that will be from the factory a 7,000 BTU unit. But there's also an extra breaker that's put in, and you can see the label, it says cockpit AC. Fantastic. Now here's the money shot, and as you can see, this boat was factory equipped with the 7.4 liter Mercruiser Horizon engines. Not unlike the last engines that we had on the last three boats, actually, they were all the 7.4 Blue Waters. These ones have a little bit more horsepower. I don't know what Mercury or General Motors did to make more horsepower out of these engines, because our Blue Waters, they were rated at 310 horsepower. These babies are rated at 380 horsepower. I don't know how they get an extra 70 horsepower out of the same basic engine and block, but if any of you guys know, by all means enlighten me. I would love to learn about that. Let's look at those exhaust risers. They are, I would strongly suggest, the way they look from the factory, that those risers hadn't been replaced. I'm gonna guess strongly that this thing was never in salt water ever in its life, because everything looks so beautiful and clean. I would have loved to see more photos from the engine compartment, but this is the only one I got. But take a look at those mounting bolts on the extended swim platform. Like I said earlier, the swim platform would have been separate. I've seen many boats in the past that those things are just, all those bolts are just rotten, rusted, the washers are bad, or there's rust streaks running down behind them. That indicates a saltwater boat. So this looks clean, freshwater clean. Love it. Now here's one of my favorite shots of the boat, looking at it from the back end. What did I say? 13-foot 10-inch beam. Awesome. I don't know why, I can't put my finger on it, but this is, out of all the photos I just showed you for this boat, this is my most favorite perspective of this boat. It just looks like a big, let's spend the summer on this boat, let's just go traveling, because this boat looks like it can do it and take you there. I'm going to finish this one out with a beautiful on-water profile shot of this vessel again. And hopefully you enjoyed it. And hopefully maybe you learned a little bit about these boats. And what I'm going to do in the future, I'm going to continue on as a series or a never-ending series of just looking at other Sea Ray model of boats. Yeah, this one's on the list. And hopefully you can stick around and see what else is on the list. And as always, I look forward to your comments. I look forward to hearing what you think about this boat. And let me know what you think of this series, which is only one of so far. But listen, we don't have a boat right now, and it is November. It's winter. We got snow on the ground already, and there's already ice on the water. So I don't have any boating to do. So I'm going to continue being inspired, hopefully inspiring you guys as well, looking at these beautiful boats. Alrighty, and until then, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!